Now, the eSafety Commissioner is continuing her push for greater online censorship. You'll recall she tried to get a worldwide ban on that alleged terror attack at a Christian church in Sydney last year. Well, now she wants YouTube added to the government's social media ban for under 16s. A survey by the eSafety Commissioner earlier this year found that YouTube was the most used platform by 10 to 15-year-olds by a significant margin. And Julie Inman Grant, Tina, she's arguing in her speech at the National Press Club today that around 7 in 10 kids report being exposed to harmful online content, such as what she thinks is misogynistic or hateful material. What's your take on this issue?
Oh, look, I think some sort of ban would be great for under 16s, but it's going to be so difficult to enforce. I think parents need to take a greater role on this. There's different apps you can apply so the kids can't access that. Don't get them the iPhones where they can, have the ability to go on the net anywhere they are. But also, you've only got to look at television, Rita, Netflix, Stan, even free-to-air TV. There's some disgusting episodes on television. So, it's not just the internet that is dangerous for kids. It's everywhere now that we have to be really, really careful, and parents need to take a stronger approach in really looking closely at what their kids are looking at. Take some responsibility.
Prue, I've got to say I disagree. I do not like this sort of censorship at all. I don't want the likes of Julie Inman Grant deciding what's hateful material. Prue, should it be something that is left to parents, or parents really not equipped to deal with this sort of issue, given the kids are so much better with tech than their parents?
Well, I think, it's got to be the parents. I agree that kids can get around anything technical these days and leave us all for dead. But, I'm sick of kids being cotton-wooled and snowflaked, and that's what we're raising, sadly. I just always feel there's a focus on the risk rather than the benefits, particularly with YouTube, where, they have education and health benefits. And it's really strongly supported. I think 79% of kids 10 to 15 use it for those reasons. And, when I was a kid, I used to sneak looking at, the books that my mother used to wear that were sort of naughty, used to read. And you sort of think, well, this is natural for kids to want to investigate and explore. And obviously we've got to be careful that we supervise them. But I just feel very uncomfortable having governments telling us what we can and can't look at and read.
Rita, there's also a positive aspect to this. I have an 11-year-old grandson that, has a sly TikTok account. He has over 500,000 followers that discuss Luna Park.
Wow.
It's hysterical. I can't believe he had more followers than what the Liberal Party did during the election. They should have employed him. But there's the positives where it can be, very good for kids.
Well, absolutely. And I think it's just foolish to try to impose these sorts of controls. Sure, get rid of things that are threats, things that are explicit materials that kids should be protected from, but you don't need to be banning YouTube. This is how kids consume information, and I just think it's such a counterproductive thing to be doing, and to have someone, an ideological leftist like Julie Inman Grant, making those calls, that is just alarm bells. That is something really the coalition needs to come out and take a stand. But sadly, they've been really silent on this issue. Let's talk local government. Sydney Lord Mayor Clover Moore has announced that gas appliances will be banned in new homes from next year. She's also proposing to ban gas from new offices, hotels and serviced apartments. Tina, she's your local mayor. Well, what do you make of this policy? Will you be changing your appliances?
Oh, I'd like to ban Clover Moore. That's what I'd like to do. Look, I'm no great cook, but I have friends that are, and they do tell me some dishes are really impossible to cook and regulate and control without gas appliances. This is crazy. People should be given the choice. We should not be dictated by some woman that's been there far too long. The sooner she goes, the better.
Prue, what do you say to that? I know it's like, I mean, can you even put a wok on an electric cooktop? It doesn't make sense. You need the flames.
Of course you do. Or they're saying induction's as good. But first of all, we're going to need electricity to actually fire up all these ovens and cooktops, because the rate we're going, we're in fantasy land with the renewables. We're not going to have electricity supply that could even cook a stir fry in time. You know, we've got councils like Clover Moore, and I believe 6 others are trying to do it, and 7 have already done it. I mean, get out of our lives, stick to the roads and rates and rubbish, and, you know, it's not your jurisdiction. She's got a large Asian contingency in the city of Sydney who always cook on woks, so she's not going to make herself very popular in that area. So I just think she's always overstepping the mark. God knows why. Well, she's got nothing better to do, clearly. Put her out to pasture or something.
Well, the Victorian government, they've got all sorts of statewide restrictions on gas, and they're not particularly popular either, but they're pressing ahead, and they've announced a whole bunch of new regulations today, particularly for rental properties. Now, I want to just get your take on what's happening with international travel. Australians have been warned that there may be travel chaos in the peak season due to the Iran-Israel conflict, with flights from Australia to the Middle East delayed and cancelled in some cases. Prue, the timing couldn't be worse for travellers, given that many Australians do transit through the Middle East to reach Europe.
Well, it wouldn't be me, Rita. I wouldn't risk it, because you can't trust Iran, that's for sure. They're talking ceasefire, but you just couldn't believe it. So I would be staying and holidaying at home, I've got to say.
On the upside, there may be some cheap seats available, Rita.
If you're into adventure travel.
Doesn't seem to be. Well, you would hope that, but no, it seems with the flight cancellations, the scarcity is making the fares even higher during peak season. So people seem to be pretty bold these days, Tina. After the COVID lockdowns, people want to get out there and travel.
That's right. That's right. I mean, you know, anything can happen any time in the world. I think if you've spent a lot of money on travel plans, you know, go for it. Be sensible about it. Look at the government travel warnings. But, you know, if I had a big expensive holiday plan, I'd still be going. Look, to this day, I'd still love to be in Israel at this moment. I know it's very dangerous and not a great place to be, but it's such a fascinating country, Rita. So if I had a trip to Israel planned, I'd certainly still be going.
I was there in December, and yeah, there's nowhere else like it in the world. Tina and Prue, thank you so much for your time tonight.